She had always believed in love and loyalty, but life had other plans. In her early 20s, she was naive, trusting, and hopelessly in love with him, her high school sweetheart. He seemed charming, ambitious, and protective, the kind of person you'd imagine standing by your side through thick and thin. But reality struck hard. When her family abandoned her due to debts and misunderstandings, she found herself alone in a small, dilapidated apartment with no savings and barely enough to survive. He, instead of offering support, laughed at her struggles, belittled her dreams, and eventually left her, claiming she was too much work and not good enough for him. The humiliation stung more than the poverty. Friends and acquaintances whispered about her misfortune, and every rejection chipped away at her confidence, but not entirely. She learned to hide her pain behind a brave face, taking on multiple odd jobs just to put food on the table. Nights were the hardest, when silence reminded her of betrayal and loneliness. But she clung to a single belief: her life would not end here. She studied, observed, and planned quietly. Each insult, every scornful remark from him became fuel, igniting a determination she had never known she possessed. "I will rise, and when I do, they'll regret underestimating me," she whispered to herself. She had no idea when or how, but she promised herself that one day she would show the world, especially him, that she was far stronger than anyone had imagined. That day was coming. Slowly, steadily, she began her transformation from an abandoned, broken young woman to someone who would soon command respect, admiration, and wealth, an unstoppable force built on resilience, intelligence, and sheer willpower. Life has a way of rewarding persistence. Despite the betrayals and setbacks, she never allowed bitterness to consume her. She understood that survival was just the first step. True triumph required vision, skill, and courage. After years of hustling through menial jobs, saving every penny, and learning skills that most people would overlook, an unexpected opportunity arrived. A billionaire entrepreneur, impressed by her intelligence, determination, and innovative ideas during a chance encounter, offered her a role in his company. She accepted, seeing it as more than a job. It was a stepping stone to the life she had always envisioned. She poured her heart into every project, learning the intricacies of business, finance, and strategy. Long hours became normal, failures became lessons, criticism became motivation. Slowly, she climbed the ranks, earning recognition and respect from colleagues and industry leaders alike. Her charm, intelligence, and resilience drew admiration, and soon she was not just an employee, but a trusted partner in major deals. Beyond career success, life also presented love in a form she hadn't anticipated. The billionaire, captivated by her brilliance and grace, fell in love. Together, they built a life filled with luxury, influence, and genuine affection. But she never forgot the pain of her past, the ridicule, the abandonment, and the heartbreak. It wasn't just for revenge that she transformed, it was to prove to herself that she was capable of greatness, and that no one, not even her ex, could define her worth. Her past shaped her, but it didn't imprison her. She had rewritten her destiny entirely, emerging stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. It was a sunny afternoon when she went shopping with her husband at one of the city's most upscale malls. The day was meant for leisure, a break from the busy schedules of board meetings, high-profile deals, and social obligations. She strolled through designer boutiques, admiring the latest collections, when suddenly, she froze. Across the store, standing awkwardly and staring, was him, the man who had abandoned her years ago. Time had changed both of them, but she noticed first how small and unimpressive he looked compared to her new world. His eyes widened as he tried to process the woman standing before him. He didn't recognize her at first. She was no longer the vulnerable girl he had discarded. She radiated confidence, elegance, and power, her every movement commanding attention. Unable to contain himself, he muttered a sarcastic remark about her old, pitiful life, trying to regain some sense of superiority. But this time, the tables had turned. Calm and composed, she smiled gently, walking past him with an air of grace. Her husband, noticing the tension, gave a subtle, protective glare, and he suddenly realized he was utterly powerless in her presence. He opened his mouth, perhaps to mock again, but no words came out. In that moment, she didn't even need to speak. The transformation was visible, undeniable, and humbling. The girl he had scorned was now untouchable, admired, and loved by someone he could never compete with. The mall, once a mundane shopping destination, had become a stage for poetic justice. She left without a word, her heart light, her confidence soaring, and her past finally at peace. He, on the other hand, stood frozen, facing the bitter truth. The woman he had cast aside had risen higher than he could have ever imagined. Walking away from the mall, she felt a sense of liberation unlike anything she had ever experienced. Years of hardship, heartbreak, and struggle had culminated in this moment, not through vengeance, but through transformation. She realized that her greatest triumph wasn't in proving him wrong or making him feel regret. It was in creating a life so fulfilling, so magnificent, that nothing from the past could diminish it. She had wealth, respect, love, and independence, all of which had been denied to her before. And more importantly, she had self-respect, a confidence forged in fire, that no one could ever take away. The encounter at the mall had been symbolic. A reminder of how far she had come, how resilient she had been, and how destiny had rewarded her unwavering belief in herself. Meanwhile, her ex was left in shock, humiliated, and speechless, staring at a woman who had once been weak but now was invincible. She no longer carried anger or resentment. They were relics of a past that had served its purpose. Every insult, every heartbreak, and every abandonment had been a stepping stone toward this remarkable life. That day, she didn't just walk out of a mall, she walked out of her past, into a future she had built with her own hands. The girl who had been rejected, humiliated, and abandoned had become a woman who commanded respect, love, and power. And as she looked at her reflection in the boutique window, she smiled, knowing that her life story, once full of pain, had been rewritten as a tale of triumph, transformation, and unshakable victory.